其实现在吧，要是不提那个，那吧跟现在吧，感觉想起来吧，也感觉自己感觉很自豪，也很幸福，感觉就是不敢想起来以前的事。
It really is horrible feeling that you're not as worthy as that person over there, and that you're quite envious of them because they're talking to everyone and they're doing things that you want to do, but you just haven't got the guts to do. And I think that is a huge achievement for me, because I feel, I don't know, I mean, I could face a challenge that I'm not ready for, but I feel I can face most challenges now.
我感觉我都很开心，就是不能他们让我生气啊，或者一提起来以前的事了，我都感觉都受不了。因为家庭啊、孩子啊，就是我全部的，就是我的全部的精神支柱。
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's funny. You were born, right? And oh my God, that love that I felt for you, the instant you were born and you were put in my arms, I just like, it was overwhelming. It was like indescribable. I just loved you, and I know it sounds dramatic, but I would have laid my life down for you. I still would, to be fair.
其实我这种想法，每一个父母都有的，每一个父母都有一种望子成龙的那种心情，其实都有，但是有的人他只是不说出来而已。我的就是说出来而已。
As a mother, you get that big motherly protective thing, and you don't want any harm to come to your kids. And they say, like, you shouldn't approach a wild animal when it's got a cub there, and I think that comes out a little bit in people. I think if you challenged any mother over something with their child, they would defend that child.
对我现在来讲幸福吧，就是我感觉到就是我的3个孩子，他们都过得幸福，一家人都是健健康康、快快乐乐的。我感觉这是我最大的幸福。
And ultimately, like every parent, I would like you to have your own families and experience what we had, because having you kids was the best thing that I've ever done.
哎呀，说起来小孩了，到现在我都还感慨的，就是我一直就是心气很高的那种人，现在时候你说也不怕你那个人。可以说那3个孩子就是我生命中的全部支柱，就是生命支柱。在他们小的时候，我都老想他们能上大学。
I mean, I ended up working in the bank, and I didn't really want to do that. And similar for Dad, really. I mean, he worked in the bank, and he didn't really want to do that. He wanted to be outdoors, he wanted to be working outside. Ultimately working for himself, which we're doing now. So we did get there in the end. But there was a lot of in-between times where neither of us were happy at work. So I didn't really want that for you boys. I always wanted you and Holly to do something that you enjoyed.
那时候干活都不知道累，都老想着挣多少钱，我想着都不够他们上学，老是那样想，感觉这支撑着我想着都不知道累，都是在哭在生气的情况下，我也没感觉到那个啥呢，不知道是哪来的力气，反正就是想着不知道累，就想着他们到将来他们3个都能上大学，我都能我感觉我无论咋着，我感觉我都值得，我都一直都是那样想，一直到后来我老大不上学了，不读书了以后，我感觉就好像是慢慢好像都泄了一点劲那个。
I suppose in a way I wish I'd gone to university, because I did quite well at school. I got all the grades that you needed. I could have gone to college and university, and I was really interested in food nutrition, and I knew that there was like a food nutritionist that could work in hospitals and work with people with their diets and stuff. And I was quite interested in that. And I got my O-levels. I did quite well. I could have gone to university, but my dad wanted me to go to work.
我现在要是我要人生可以重来的话哈，我最大的梦想就是上学，因为上学是我就是好像这些年没有了，20-30岁就可以说30-40岁以前吧，做梦就是几乎上就是在学校，因为现在我知道没有文化有多可怕，有多那个的，就是有多难。
When I was tiny, like I know 3 or 4 years old, I said, "Oh, I want to work in a bank when I'm older," and that just stuck. Everybody said, "Oh, Dawn's going to work in a bank," you know. So I did, and I sort of regret maybe not standing up to my dad and saying, "I want to go to university. I want to do something else." But he was, you know, my dad was in charge. We didn't question him. And I just did what he told me to do. We had these pay rises and we were comparing them. And this guy confessed to me that he was earning quite a bit more money than me, you know, a couple of £1,000 more than me a year. And we were doing exactly the same job. And I actually felt I was doing more than him. And he knew I was doing more than him as well. He's lazy, what's it? So by then, Dad and I were seeing each other, and Dad said, "Well, that's not right. You know, you should go and complain."
那时候也没出过门来，不知道是啥，就想着就是一直心里想着想出去外面看看，没出过那个村庄啊，想着出去外面看看。那时候就是俺哥都不让去，家里人父母也都不让去，想着哎呀，你们去到外面怎么着，怕吃苦呀，怕受罪呀，怎么着的。后来他不管谁反对啥的，也没阻挡了我们去。后来就是跟着那个我们村上那个面粉厂那个老板，我们一直那个大巴车都去了。到了那里以后，我感觉我信心很大，不管再苦，我感觉我都想把它坚持下来。
So I had to go in the lift, you know, go up, which was really intimidating, and waited outside this guy's office. And he called me in and he said, "Oh, I understand you've got a problem, Dawn. You know, what's the problem?"
有好多人他们都坚持不下来呢，后来他们就偷跑了以后，那一天早上他们全部都偷跑了，从那厂里偷跑了，我还有一个女孩，我们2个我都不想跑，我都想着我们2个留在那里继续坚持下来，要不然人家村上人都会笑话你啊。想着你去了以后就立马都返回了，因为走的时候家里人都不让走，所以我就想坚持，后来也没坚持下来，都走的剩我们2个了。
So I said, "Well, I've had this pay rise." I said, and I was talking to this guy, and we compared wages. We're doing the same job, we're the same age. I said, and I feel I'm doing a bit more than him actually. I said, but I'm earning, you know, less money than him. I said, I don't really think it's fair. And I said, my boyfriend said I should come and tell you, you know, and see if I can get a bit more money, really. And I was really, really nervous. I was shaking, you know. And this guy looked over and he goes, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, Dawn." He said, "But there's nothing we can do about that." And I said, "Oh." And I said, "So why is that?" And he said, "Well," he said, "Is your work colleague a male?" And I said, "Yes, he is. It's a male work colleague." He said, "Well, there's your answer." And I said, "Oh." And he could see I was like, "Oh, that's not right." Even in those days, you know, I was like, "That's not fair." Yeah. And he said, to be honest, Dawn, he said, "If you're not happy," he said, "you know what you can do."
回去呢，走到那一直都是偷跑，后边都是有人撵的状态。人家厂里人就在撵你啊，因为人家付出了好多，给你发的有那饭票呀，发的饭票啊，每一个人那去几百人，你看那饭票啊，加起来都有好多种，好多钱的。人家撵这边，我们都上了大巴车，都去郑州的火车站的路上。坐上了火车，坐火车的那个中间是最狼狈的一次，因为我们身上都没带钱，第一次出来带的钱都花完了，然后我们都是就是把身上所有的钱都集资到一起买的火车票，所有去的人买的票一半都没有。 买了一半的票都火车票都没有，我们都是连挤带拱的都坐上了火车。坐上了火车到中间，到火车中间的情况时候，人家还查票，我们就害怕，他们就给说，然后你们要去厕所里躲一躲，然后我们都去厕所里躲。查票的时候，我们都是隔三差五的都去厕所里躲。
And in those days as well, you didn't have all this PC stuff like. So I used to go in there and I used to get wolf whistled and jeered at, and yeah, come on, Dawn, come and sit on my lap, sort of thing, and things like that. Yeah, so it was quite intimidating to walk in there and face all that.
到火车站，然后就包了一个那个的私家车，把我们那一帮人就是又没给钱，因为身上都没有钱了。那是我们人生中第一次出远门，第一次离开家乡，都没钱了，就那个人当时私家车不知道我们没有钱了，就把我们拉到我们那县城里，从市里边拉到县城里。那时候都是10月的天气吧，天刚好都大黑了，啥也看不到了。下来了以后，俺那领头干说，下车了以后你要是猛跑，就下来车了以后都跑了，都司机都找不到我们了。
It was a way of life in those days, so you just got on with it, really. But when I look back now, and like especially at the moment, you've got women standing up for their rights and all that sort of thing. You could think, yeah, it wasn't really right, you know. It did make you feel anxious and a bit intimidated, yeah.
第一次谈恋爱啥时候？
没谈过恋爱。
My very first boyfriend, I was at school. But I wasn't that young compared to some girls. I was about 15, and looking back now, he wasn't very nice bloke.
村上的邻居吧给介绍的那种对象，介绍了以后就见了一次面了以后，中间就没见过，后来就说那个结婚。
I fancied Dad for ages, and then he was due to leave work, and he had a leaving drink, and I'd had a couple of drinks, you know, probably a couple of glasses of wine, and I was feeling a bit bold, so I wrote out my phone number, and I put it in his shirt pocket, and I said, give me a ring, keep in touch, and he did.
那时候不知道谈恋爱是啥，没谈过恋爱，没经历过。
Because we had a neighbour who had a phone. Everybody used to go and use her phone, and she used to have a little box, so people put money in the box. And then we got a phone, and some of our neighbours came in and used our phone, and Mum had a little box, and they used to put money in it. So that was really bizarre.
零几年我们开始挣馒头了以后，赚了钱以后，那时候才开始买那按键手机。
I think I had Dad's old mobile phone when we got home. So that was probably 2003. That's my first mobile phone, and I hardly used it. Because nobody I knew had a phone, so.
看电视是刚结婚那一年，就是我哥给买的那种黑白的电视当陪嫁，那时候早一点，就是在我们村上那属于算是第一家看电视的，最早的黑白电视14寸。
Our neighbours up the road had a colour TV, so they invited all the neighbours in to watch Princess Anne's wedding on their TV. So we all crowded into their front room, and like all the kids sat on the floor, and we all watched this coloured TV. Yeah, I thought it was really boring actually, because it was just a wedding. I don't know how old. What was I? About 7 years old. But it was so fascinating to see it in colour. And then shortly after that, we got a colour TV, and we thought it was like the bee's knees. And they were great big things, you know, like huge, great big square boxes, and they weighed a ton.
俺小的时候经常做的事是什么？就是我们家是农村的哈，也生活条件又不好。我最经常从我记事开始了以后，上学一直到，除了上学就是去地里刨柴火。刨柴火那是俺的所有那个农村小孩的，不是我一个人都是那样的。所有农村小孩的最多的，那是最经常干的事。就是每天早上起来，只要不上学的情况下，就是去岗上刨柴火，能把那岗上的柴火全部刨，岗上所有长的草、野草全部刨光，回家背到家里，弄到家里晒，就是烧锅。 早上起来就是像学生上课一样的排队到岗上去，天亮有的人家勤快，天不亮都去了，懒一点的就是等太阳出多高了去了。到吃饭时的时候，家里头喊吃饭了，站到桌上喊，一喊俺都听到了，都回家，那是最常干的。你看俺是天阴下雨也要去，就是你家里没有烧的呀，你要等着那一天要刨出来柴火，太阳晒晒，第二天都要烧啊，都要烧锅呀。那时候除了从岗上刨那柴火烧锅，别人没有二选。
We never had central heating for well, I don't even know if we had it. I must have been quite old before we got it, to be honest. I can't remember when Dad, he did put in radiators and stuff, but we used to have a coal fire downstairs in the lounge room, and that used to be our heating, and it used to, yeah, and it used to heat the water and stuff, you know. So when you woke up in the winter in the morning and you used to pull your curtains, all the net curtains, because everybody had nets in those days, like the little see-through white curtains, and they used to be stuck to the window. We used to pull them off, and then used to be like, you know, we would say Jack Frost had been, and used to be all like frost all over the windows and all the little patterns. I used to love like looking at the windows, looking at all the little, you know, the frozen windows.
那不知道那时候为啥柴火不够烧，就是地里建的柴火根本不够烧，就是地里看回去那个庄稼长的那个柴火远远不够烧，错的远，因为那时候没有煤火，又没有气的啥的。一家那么多人全指望就是那种地里那庄稼长出来那种东西烧锅，根本都不够。
So Dad used to make up the fire, or Mum used to make up the fire. We didn't have it going all day, but they used to have it on at night. And Dad used to like cooking toast. He used to have a fork, big long fork, and he used to toast. And we used to have crumpets and muffins, and he used to toast it on there. Yeah, it was always Dad's job to do that.
一是刨柴火，二是就是去地里找野菜吃。那时候种面条呀，那还一是没面也少。我放学就跑到地里就去埋地里去找那种野菜回家洗长面条锅。然后到现在我想我都吃得恶心。就这两件事，别的没有啥。然后就是晚上的时候了，就是下午的时候找完菜了，吃完饭了，就是找那一杆子马上那一杆子去都是野地毛人啊，然后就是刀鸡啊，就来这些粗暴的动作。
But we used to play on the road. You know, we used to draw hopscotch and stuff on the road and play it. And we'd just get an old stone and throw it and do hopscotch. We used to, quite a lot of kids would all get together and we'd play like cricket or rounders or something. And then we would have... I
guess not on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
On the road. Yeah. Because there were no cars, you know, like hardly anybody had a car.
地毛阵都是俺那时候女孩都会干那个的，就是他弄一帮人把这个人举起来，俺这帮弄一帮人把这个人也举起来，互相的都是来回碰撞的那意思。还有就倒鸡，就是一只腿站到地下来回倒鸡那个，对方都来回弄吧，那都是女孩可以干的。
And when we were really small, we had a little pedal car. All the kids loved this car. They thought it was amazing. And we used to go out, and I had a tiny little shopping bag, a little basket. And Ian used to pedal along, and I used to go to a lamppost, and he used to stop me at the lamppost. And I used to get out, and I used to chat away to this lamppost and get my shopping, you know. Oh, can I have some apples or whatever I was buying? And I used to get my shopping, and then I used to wait for Ian, and he used to cycle up the road and come back and pick me up.
倒鸡还有那种的立墙都上大个天能立到那墙上。倒立啊，都倒立，那时候都会的，但说跟头倒立，女孩都会的。你现在的女孩都文弱，除了学习别的啥都没有那，俺那时候都会干的，都是每一个女孩都会的。
We played cowboys and Indians, and Ian was a cowboy. And he used to tie me up to the lamppost or the washing line. And once Mum came out in the garden, I was tied to the washing line. And Ian had just left me there. I was like stuck to the washing line in my little Indian squaw outfit. Oh, yeah, it's hilarious, yeah.
你像我们那60后的那时候又生在农村，那时候哪有啥零食吃，只有季节性的，就是到印象最深刻的哈，那时候哪 不只是我一个人没有零食吃，都可以说大部分都没有零食吃。只有到季节性的，我印象最深的就是到夏天的时候，我们有那大早吃爬树，能爬那树上能爬好高的，爬好高树上去摘枣吃。从开始刚刚甜能吃，能一直吃的枣，都是那时候能全部红完，全部落下，全部落完才不吃。
We had, I think, about 10p pocket money a week, and on a Saturday morning we used to go walk down to our little local shop, and they used to have the big old jars of sweets, you know, you weigh them out. Yeah, pick and mix type thing. And it was a proper old sweet shop, so it had all of the sweets in the background with the scales, and you know, I think the owners must have got sick and tired of all the kids walking in and spending 10p pocket money worth of sweets, you know. My biggest dream? Oh, live a long and healthy life. Yeah, be around in my hundreds, still hiking up mountains and enjoying myself. With Dad, obviously. Yeah, I think that is my dream. You know, that Dad and I will have a happy life, our retirement life.
我的梦想就是现在，等我3个孩子慢慢成家了以后，他们都成家了，都安稳了，稳定住了，孩子都大了，不需要我们的时候了，我们就想回到老家这边，盖一个别墅，然后弄一个花园，然后弄个菜园，然后我们老两口呢就供他们吃鸡肉啊，吃鸡蛋呐，自己养的。吃我们种的菜啊，吃我们养的猪啊，这是我最终的梦想。
Because we've worked all our lives, really. You know, from I was 16, I've been working, and I've experienced a few holidays, had a few, you know, nice things. But it would be lovely to have that freedom just to go and have a couple of months in a country, you know, just like you do now, you know. And just experience all I can experience before I get too old.
因为养猪啊、养鸭呀，这都是我的擅长。养牛啊、养羊啊，这些我都让他们吃，以后都吃到。我都想着每年给他们一头猪啊、一头羊啊、鸡啊、鸭呀、鸡蛋呐，都不让他们买。想着老了，我就是这些那个。
My family is my happiness. You know, like Christmas, when we had you, Brad and Becky, Rob and Holly, and Ella, and we saw my mum, we saw Jeff's parents. It was just, I was at my happiest.
家人给你意味着你一个人的幸福呀，我整天都想着幸福，就是一家人圆圆满满的。我整天想一个，不管是男人一个女人，最大的成功，我都感觉到就是一家人，一家人就是圆满的，我感觉这是最大的幸福，这是对我来说。
I see a lot of your dad and me, really, in your relationship. I think you've got a wonderful relationship, and I couldn't wish more for you, personally. And I don't know what your plans are for the future, but I just want you to do what makes you happy.
我现在没事的时候，我都在想，只要我三个孩子，他们3个家庭，都是和和睦睦的，幸幸福福的，身体健健康康的，我感觉这都是我最大的幸福。
That's happiness for me, you know. Just just feeling that people around me, the people that I love, are in a good place. Yeah, that's all I want, really.